So here I've listed for you the human health associated with the dispersants. You'll look down this list and you'll see short-term headaches, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. And then you see long-term, the damage to the blood cells. People were talking today about internal bleeding as a result of damage to the red blood cells. Cardiovascular problems. There are two up here that we haven't seen yet. Other than those two, we have seen all of these health impacts that are associated with the dispersant in the people that were workers and were people that lived along the coast. The two we haven't seen are genetic damage and mutations and reproductive and developmental damages. Now we're at 9 months from the initial flowing of the wellhead. So are we not seeing them, or are people not associating reproductive and developmental damage? Probably people are not associating it back, but those are the two things we're now looking for really closely, because we're now 9 months out, and there is the potential to start seeing all of these, including the genetic and the reproductive damage. The dispersant was last applied, quote, on July 19, 2010. It was limited to 3 miles from the shore. It was supposedly done out near the wellhead. However, after July 19th, and even before that date, we are continuing to hear over and over again from the people in the coastal areas and the wetlands that dispersant is being applied by airplane and by boat, by the Carolina skiffs and by airplane. I've been reporting that to the federal agents over and over again. And their response initially was, it can't be applied in the coastal areas. It can't be closer than 3 miles from the shore, which is the Louisiana waters. And this is all the way across the coast, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and the panhandle of Florida. So they know of the complaints. I'm still getting the complaints. I got one Friday that said they had sprayed the night before by airplane. And the feds will listen to me, but they won't talk back to me because they say it's a criminal investigation. But that doesn't get any help for the people in this room and the people on the coastal areas. So it's really critical that if you hear a plane or if you see a boat spraying, that you call it in to your parish, your county, your state agency, get it recorded. So when I told you for every 93 gallons of crude that was released into the environment, 1 gallon of dispersant was applied, that doesn't count what has been applied along the coastal areas. So the pathways of exposure when you come into contact with the crude itself are inhaling it, ingesting it, your skin, and eye and skin contact. Someone mentioned when I came in today that someone had lost the sight in their eyes from being exposed. So the gentleman back there just raised his hand. There are all of the health impacts. Next. So these are the health impacts from the crude. The first one I showed you were the health impacts from the dispersant. Every one of these except the ones with the star, mutation and birth defects and infertility, have been reported in association with contact or exposure to the crude. And once again, we're 9 months out. So we're watching to see if we start picking up mutations and birth defects and infertility. But do you think anybody's gonna call me and say, I had a miscarriage, or I can't get pregnant? People aren't gonna report that. They're gonna report skin rash and respiratory, that whole kidney problems. But these are gonna be the two that are gonna be the hardest to document associated with the crude.